don't even know how I'm going to talk about today's video because honestly I've put the information together, the facts on the table, and created what we used to call in this world an opinion based off the surrounding evidence and the circumstance that we're talking about against somebody who is not necessarily the most well-liked figure in the game industry today, and that is Kim Belair, and how I feel like she's not really a good person. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. Kim Belair was in the news recently for giving a presentation at the Xoxo festival, and I've covered that in detail. Many people on YouTube have, and we found it very interesting how she was off-putting everything on everyone else, not taking any accountability, not taking any of the ownership of it, and saying it's all everyone else's fault. We're getting this harassment campaign, and we're not going to acknowledge any wrongdoing from Sweet Baby Inc., just like they always do. Nothing really special or surprising from that. But there was one little thing that she said at the very beginning of it that kind of caught my ear. And I was like, that's interesting. That doesn't sound right.
I'm Kim Belair. In my circles, I'm largely considered, I think, a relatively nice person. These are my dogs, Sage and Flaky. These are my cats, Tag and the Gray Boy.
Wait a second. It almost sounds like this person is extremely racist, which I know, again, not a huge shocker for people that have been following the story and following her specifically. But once I started diving down this rabbit hole, I saw just how interconnected and behind the scenes the webs were that I'm like, oh my God, I had an epiphany. It's all coming together.
We are creative, we are passionate, we are funny, and we are doing this because we love it. We love it so much, in fact, that we'll do it even through the worst months of our lives.
This isn't about games anymore. In fact, with Sweet Baby Inc., it never was. It's always been about the agenda. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out smashjt.com for the extremely exhaustive and thorough article diving through facts to form my opinion about why I feel like Kim Belair might not necessarily be the greatest person in the world. Kim Belair, the CEO of Sweet Baby Inc., a widely criticized consultancy firm known for injecting diverse narratives in the gaming industry, recently gave an extremely insincere presentation at the Xoxo festival. In typical fashion, she took center stage with her usual victimhood narrative, but this time she had a new target. Elon Musk. And this is very important to take away from this because it's going to expose exactly what her thinking is when it comes to white people.
As ridiculous and stupid as it all was, I actually was not prepared for the escalation of it when noted buffoon and Twitter CEO Elon Musk decided that he would chime in with his very cool thoughts. Yeah. Some very cool, very good thoughts in there. Lots to think about.
As you just saw there, Kim Belair decided to call Elon Musk a buffoon, which is fascinating. You're welcome to say whatever you want and call people whatever you want if it's your opinion. That's great. But it's interesting, seeing as Elon Musk is from African descent. He's an African. He's a white African. But I'd be interested to see if Kim Belair would call Elon Musk a noted buffoon if he happened to be a black African. I'm just wondering if she has the same rules for it, because as we dive deeper here, we're going to see, no, it's a double standard that she has that we all know about, but this video is going to actually expose the facts.
When Elon chimed in, it really made me realize the scale of it, because the richest man in the world was suddenly turning like the Eye of Sauron onto 16 people trying to make a pretty modest living in the industry that they love, and he was arguing for our collapse.
She goes on to crap on Elon more and expressed her decision to leave Twitter long ago, claiming that it's no longer a safe space for her or anyone who shares her views. And while that might resonate with some people, it's her continuous slandering of Musk that makes you wonder, why the need to focus on someone she supposedly doesn't care about at all? And it goes back to, she's not a big fan of a white, straight male having a lot of money and control in this world.
And it's hard, let alone when like Elon Musk is like crawling bleary-eyed out of his money pit to tell us that we deserve to go broke. It's a disaster.
And while on the surface you can say, well, that doesn't lead one to the other, you can't really say that as a fact. Okay, fair enough. It's my opinion based off of circumstantial evidence that she continues to perpetuate. But here's where it really gets wild. So I watched that presentation again because it was just so interesting to me. I feel like there's a lot of information that she let out there accidentally that exposes her for who she truly is. Right at the beginning of the video, she introduces her dog and her cat and tells everyone, hey, I'm just a normal person just like you guys. I'm just a regular old woman that just works in the game industry, just trying to make it through, you know. The patriarchy's holding us down, but I'm trying, you know. But then she ends up talking about her cat's name and says her cat is called Gray Boy. And that kind of made me perk my ears up. I'm like, where have I heard that term before? I feel like there's something behind that. And sure enough, I head over to Google and search it up and I'm like, uh-oh. So I saw that and I'm like, I've got to post a video on Twitter. I was walking my dog when it all came together and I was listening to it. I'm like, I'm just going to post this video out there and just put two and two together, let people make their own decision based off of the information and evidence we have. And I posted it on Twitter.
Hello. I'm Kim Belair. In my circles, I'm largely considered, I think, a relatively nice person. These are my dogs, Sage and Flaky. These are my cats, Tag and the Gray Boy.
I bet you didn't know that the term gray boy is actually, in certain circles, a derogatory term against white people. I find it fascinating that the CEO of Sweet Baby Inc., a DEI firm that injects cultural sensitivity into games, aka anything but white people, would name their cat an anti-white name. I find it fascinating, almost to the point of making you wonder, is she extremely racist?
Jonas Campbell said, you'd think a sensitivity reader would be aware of something like that, which is, again, true. This is one of those, if people are trying to say, oh no, it's just a incidental accident, it's just a coincidence. You know, she didn't actually mean it to be a derogatory term against white people just because she named her cat that. Totally two different worlds. But this is someone that is supposedly a sensitivity reader. If that's the case, then she's not a professional. She's not doing her job because she doesn't even know the thing that I knew. And wouldn't you know it, someone's like, hey, she's protected mode. She's not going to see this. And I'm like, yeah, I know, whatever though. And I clicked on the name of her that they tagged. And sure enough, I was blocked. This video that I posted is what got me blocked by her. And I thought that was very interesting. Why would she block me when she's already in protected mode? It's not like I can see what she's saying anyways. That's interesting. And then I paired that with what she said in the presentation about how she left Twitter and she doesn't use Twitter because she feels like it's such a horrible place.
As silly as it is, and as little as I miss the current Twitter, as little as I regret leaving it, the loss of like frivolity and, frankly, like dumb bullshit is actually a little soupçon of dehumanization. Because I would love to post a picture of my latte or my dogs without people going like, oh, I guess coffee is woke now, and hey, that dog is pretty gay.
But then she does use Twitter because she just blocked me on it. So if she uses Twitter, she's lurking and she's watching everything that transpires. She is there. This is proof positive of that. But with Kim, it's not about the games. It's not about the narrative design. It's all about the message. And even more importantly, it's all about control. It's clear my video hit a nerve with her. Blocking me wasn't about limiting my access. No, not at all. She knows that it's futile and doesn't do a dang thing about how she's already in protected mode. No one can see what she's saying anyways. This was about trying to desperately control a situation in any way possible, attempting to silence any further exposure of her behavior, to feel like she has some or any semblance of power in this battle. And spoiler alert, she doesn't, and she's finding that out real quick. And it got me diving even deeper into this. After I saw that she blocked me, I was like, that's interesting because this person has a history of being very, well, say, anti-white straight male. I think it's fair to say that based off of all her presentations and everything she's been saying about how she always tries to inject a narrative and culture and black voices and marginalized voices and all the buzzwords she always throws out there. She never cares about the straight white male. And I feel like that kind of permeates everything in her life. Ironically, Alyssa Mercante, good friend of the channel, senior editor at Kotaku, was one of the loudest voices pushing the agenda of you can't be racist against white people. And she posted this tweet on March 6th, 2024. And why is that date significant? Because, as I found out doing some research here, many of us are already familiar with the article that she wrote that Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't do what you think they do. Guess what day that she posted that article? Yep, you guessed it. The same day she posted on March 6th, 2024. And why does that matter? Why am I even correlating these two things? Well, she interviews Kim Belair and leaves out vital, important parts about how Chris Kindred tried to get Cabrutus canceled and how Sweet Baby Inc. actually does exactly what we think they do. But they didn't want to get that message out there. So she interviewed Kim, gave the most glowing review of the company possible, and then goes on the offense to wear a t-shirt about how you can't be racist against white people, post it on Twitter, put it in her headline, say everything about it, while also propagating the lie that Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't do what you think they do. And it's just interesting when you pair the two things together, that this is, by all accounts, a coordinated attack against gamers. By putting these things together, putting it out there, pushing the message of, hey, what we're saying here, you cannot attack us. You can't say anything about us, because otherwise we're going to label you as a bigot and a racist, and we're going to completely devalue your argument and say you need a tinfoil hat on because of your conspiracy theories, because that's what all you chuds always are. When in reality, this is exposing Alyssa Mercante for exactly the fraud she is, by trying to proactively push a message out there while at the same time propping up Sweet Baby Inc. makes you think, wait a second, what kind of backroom deals were going on here? Why would she be perpetuating this lie? And pair that with Dread Roberts posting some banger info on why Sweet Baby Inc. was founded in the first place. Once again, pushing the racism against white people angle from Kim herself. And he posted this on Twitter. It's a very long message, but it's very important we go through it. So I'm going to go through it fast, but I'll cover the parts that I feel like really stand out here. Hi. I'm Kim Belair, and I'm a black woman working in games, which is interesting, by the way. God, I know I said I'd go through this fast, but that right there, why do you need to call out your color? Don't look for color. Just do the games, play the games, make it natural. If, as Alyssa says, diversity is natural, you shouldn't have to proactively tell people what your skin color is in literally the first line of what you're saying. I'm also the co-founder and CEO of Sweet Baby Inc., a black and queer-owned narrative development company working in the indie and AAA spaces around the world. Right now, things feel scary, uncertain, infuriating, and heartbreaking. All of this, by the way, is the same parroted talk that she just gave at the Xoxo Fest. In these people's mind, it never changes. The whole world's always out to get them, and they're the most awful people in the world because they just can't get through. It's always hate campaigns. It's always people attacking them, even though all it is just calling a spade, and in this case, saying, here are the facts of what you're doing and why you're wrong. In light of the government-sanctioned violence being perpetuated against black communities, it is important that we not only say something, but do something. Which I would say, wait, what? Like, what are you even talking about that is being perpetuated? Like, maybe this is back during the George Floyd stuff, and they're like, oh, let's jump in the BLM, all this stuff. Let's jump into the cash cow that is race baiting people and try to throw all these buzzwords out to maybe get some investor money, maybe get some money donated from BLM, maybe get some money donated from really rich people that are trying to pay back their sins for daring to be born white. It is challenging enough to navigate this world as a black person and to find solace, solidarity, and support. This is equally true for black people working in and adjacent to the games industry, where opportunities are rarely afforded, help is rarely given, and black and other marginalized voices are ignored, silenced, or actively threatened. We want to help in what ways we can. I look at this as someone, again, coming from Kim Belair, as she does not like white people. In fact, she feels like white people hold black people down, and that white people, by extension, are the problem. Ergo, I think that watching all this go down and seeing all the information and the facts on the table and naming her cat what she did, in addition to the reason Sweet Baby Inc. was founded, in addition to going in backroom deals with Alyssa Mercante to do a coordinated attack against gamers, just feels like she's extremely racist against white straight men. Just gonna be honest. Kim can dish out insults about Elon Musk and complain about the unsafe spaces she supposedly no longer cares about, but when the tables are turned and the spotlight's on her, she scrambles to regain any control she can. And in doing so, she's exposing far more than anyone could have ever imagined. Madam Savvy on Twitter said, people who actually love the gaming industry wouldn't try to change it. they'd try to expand it. They wouldn't call successful female leads problematic. They'd teach people how to write new characters through online workshops. They wouldn't try to change an existing studio or use fear tactics. They'd teach people how to set up new studios. They'd run programs in Chicago, Detroit, or other cities to start growing studios. They wouldn't use outlets like GDC to call gamers racist. They'd use outlets like GDC to talk about the cool things small dev teams are making and how storytelling is for everyone, and that there is no wrong way to tell a story. Kim is a shit stain on all the pantaloons of the gaming industry. You can wash the fabric endlessly, but sometimes it's best to just throw them away and buy new ones. And at this point, I understand Chris Kindred has not just been fired from Sweet Baby Inc., but it's recently come out that he was actually fired, ironically, around the same time that Alyssa Mercante was running that whole campaign that you can't be racist against white people and promoting the article that she wrote with Sweet Baby Inc. It's just curious how all this stuff seemed to happen at the same time. Kim, I know you're watching this, so let me just talk to you real quick here. Like, off the record. Everyone else can turn off the video. This is just for me and Kim. Kim, get the hell out of the game industry. We don't want you. The stories that you're telling are ruining the games that could have potential to be good. The people you're bringing into the game industry are not qualified to be doing the storytelling that you think that any marginalized voice can just pick up a pencil and start writing. You are not qualified. This is not the industry for you. You are ruining it by running an agenda, pushing a narrative, propaganda, and ideologies on the masses. And none of us want it. Leave the game industry and go back to collecting skulls or whatever the hell you do in your spare time, because that's a totally normal thing that a person would do. Collecting skulls and taxidermy. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information, again, a very exhaustive article, check out smashjt.com. I will link it in the description below. If you appreciate what I'm doing, hit that join button. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
We work very hard to get marginalized talent into the industry, to protect them the way that we would want to have been protected, to lift them up, and to get them into an industry where they're too often shut out. And basically, I think to take over in the hopes that some really dope people will be able to lead into kind of a new era for an industry that's been kind of, the same way too long.